All right. Today we're going to break down an interview of a woman who cheated on her husband. It's a classic case. See, I've been coaching mostly men, some women, and some couples, however, for years now, and I've seen thousands of situations. And the situation that I'm going to share with you today and break down for you today isn't really unique. It's actually how cheating commonly happens. But we're going to break it down in a way, though, that you have likely never heard before. This way, you can make sure that this never happens to you. That said, if you enjoy this content, please show your gratitude with a like, a subscribe, and don't forget, I got a free community. Link is in the description where I can impart some skill sets to help you with your relationships, your mindset, and your general success in life. We can get off these platforms with the censorship and have real discussions there. And it's free. So don't forget to get in that community. Most of you guys, this guys watching this, it's going to be kind of a surprise for you in a way. Like, all right, so what normally gets shown on like a YouTube type platform is a really sensational, crazy scenario, right?
Good morning. What up? Good morning.
Get out!
Wake up, motherfucker. You're so fucked. You're so
out!
fucked. You guys played the fucking game.
Because people are attracted to like the crazy stuff. You know, people are attracted to the, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. I can't believe she did that kinds of situations. The sort of normalized situations seem to be a little bit less interesting. And so this can really skew your ideas about how women are. Some guys are like really off to one end of the deep end where they think all women are, 304s, all women are crazy, all women cheat. Like they get into this real nihilistic kind of mindset about women, which isn't true or accurate at all. There's plenty of good women out there that have it in their belief system, in their identity to not do things like cheat. Okay. But then you also have, the other side where you see all the sensational, crazy stuff and you just click ahead, or you may watch it for the entertainment, but you're like, well, that's a special circumstance. And then people aren't really like that. You know what I mean? That's a girl who cheats. Well, she's a crazy, or she's she's a bad person. And so that's just an outlier. That's a lower percentage of women. That wouldn't be my baby at home. That wouldn't be my wife or my girlfriend. That's just a crazy person, right? And neither of these things are true. The reality is that cheating is a part of our DNA as human beings. That doesn't mean it's right to cheat or morally good. I would argue for both men and women, it is not good to cheat. I don't think there's a circumstance where anybody should cheat. And now some guys will say, well, wait a second. So you mean that what about the high value man who can, be non-monogamous or whatever? Sure. Yeah, he can do that. And that's okay, but he doesn't have to lie about it. He doesn't have to cheat to do it. You can set up relationship structures that invite sex with other people and it's not fully monogamous. You can do that with integrity. You don't have to lack the integrity and do things in secret. And anytime that's done, I would say that that is a wrong thing from a moral perspective, right? And so, I mean, but I'm not here to moralize or get up on a pedestal for you, but I'm just saying that that's, my belief. And you really don't need to do that in your life. If you don't want to be in a monogamous relationship, you don't have to be one. You can still get sexual needs and emotional needs met. You can still be in a relationship with somebody without having it be that monogamous thing, if that's not your thing. Okay. There's actually benefits to monogamy and there's trade-offs, right? Disadvantages. So any relationship structure you get into is a trade-off and you get to choose what that trade-off is. But the immoral or unethical thing to do would be to choose what the trade-off is without letting your companion consent to the decision you're making. And what do I mean by consent, right? If she thinks she's in a monogamous relationship and then you're banging side hose, right? That's not consent. She's not consenting to that situation. She's being lied to, right? And vice versa is true. In this case, I'm about to present, if a girl's banging her trainer on the side, The guy's not consenting to that relationship. He isn't he believes he's getting monogamy, and what he's really getting is a situation where she is stepping out and having sex with other people, right? And so that's the part where that would be the immoral thing. And you don't need to live your life like that, man or woman, all right? But that being said, to demonize people that cheat as being bad people would be a mistake too, because it's part of human nature to do so. The percentages are incredibly high for people that cheat. People who are actively cheating right now in a relationship is about 1 in 5. People in marriages right now, still married, go outside and go count up the couples that are there, okay? And count to 5, all right? One of those couples statistically is cheating on their part. They're one or the other's cheating. That's how prevalent it is. It's pretty high prevalency, right? Too high, in fact, for us to pretend like or assume like it's not a part of human nature. Okay, so we need to accept that mate switching, cheating, getting needs met with somebody else sexually or emotionally is part of our nature as human beings, as much as it is to also pair bond and bond with somebody and feel connected to another person. But just like pair bonding is part of human nature, getting needs met outside of the pair bond or relationship is also part of human nature. That doesn't make it morally correct, and that doesn't mean that it's going to set you up for success. I mean, nature, all right, the way that we're wired in our mammalian brain can lead us to do all kinds of dumb shit. If we just listened to our mammalian brain all the time, we would be in jail, most of us, okay? When you get angry and you want to go smash somebody's head through a window or whatever, that's your mammalian brain. That doesn't mean you go do that thing, right? And similarly, guys or girls, a girl sees a hot dude or a guy sees a hot chick. That doesn't mean you go smash her in the parking lot while your wife is at home, right? So like we need to have higher order thinking to direct our lower order brains. That being said, we need to also not demonize people who are quote unquote cheaters because they're really just falling to their nature. And by not having reasonable discussions about this and learning how to handle what's part of our nature so that we can use our higher order thinking to direct our lower order brains to get in what we want, we're not doing ourselves much of a service, okay? Guys, you're not going to prevent the girl you're with from cheating on you by pretending things don't exist or pretending or buying into fantasies that aren't real. Like there are good girls and there are bad girls and there are cheaters and that there are not cheaters. Every girl you get with has the capacity to cheat. Some are just more likely to do it than others, but every single one could possibly do it. And don't think you're alone in this. Don't think you have special powers. All right. There's a lot of men I've talked to who've cheated on their spouses and cheated on their girlfriends who didn't really plan to or think that was how their life was going to turn out. Okay. But they didn't have controls in place and they responded and listened to their lower order thinking or their mammalian brain. And next thing you know, they've had a complication and a problem in their life and they hurt other people with their choices. These are things that we can prevent. They're very preventable, but mainstream discussions don't prevent them because they pretend things, because there's too much pretending and too much fantasy thinking amongst mainstream discussions about cheating. So we're going to bring in real thinking into the picture, and I'm going to give you some tools today to help cheat-proof yourself. The show that we are taking a look at, I'll put the link in the description. It's called the John Deloney Show. I don't know. He seems pretty cool. Had some good call-ins, just showed up on my feed, caught this one, and I thought that we would do a little breakdown on my channel.
Okay, great. So I have made a horrible mistake, and about 2 months ago, I found myself in an unhealthy relationship with someone at the gym.
Wait, back out. Are you married? Are you married?
Yes, I am married. That's the key.
How long?
That's the key problem. We have been married. We're about 5 years.
Any kids?
About 5 years. 2 children, 2 and 4.
Okay.
So I wanted to do a fitness.
Okay, so I'll take a little pause here. All right. So look, they you already see the rationalization that happens. So I want you to notice this, because this is the thing that women tend to do. Guys can also do certain things to lack accountability as well. I know most of my audience here, you're most of you are men. You want to make sure that you avoid talking about things and framing things like how she's framing it. It just demonstrates a lack of accountability, right? I found myself in in an unhealthy relationship. Like, it was like she found herself there. Like, somehow she was lost and looking around, and she was asking for directions, and all of a sudden she found a penis, and that penis crawled up inside of her, and next thing you know, it was in a healthy relationship. She just found herself there. Like, this is the crazy kind of talk. And those of you guys who make mistakes even in your relationships, and not just cheating, just other things, don't sit there and talk about things like as if it happened to you when you clearly did it. It's much more of a masculine quality to just own it. If you're a guy who cheated, just be like, listen, I had sex with somebody else. That's more acceptable than, well, I found myself in this situation with this girl. Like, no. Okay, just own it, because that's going to go better for you than not. But in any case, this is demonstrating a lack of accountability on her side of it, and probably a lack of a lack of willingness to really change some things right off the bat. Now, I don't know if that's true with her or not. That's what it does demonstrate, right? So you're going to notice that accountability, that accountability avoidance. Okay, you're going to notice that accountability avoidance throughout this this little this call that she does.
This competition, and I found myself at the gym a lot, and there was a guy there, trainer, and basically started, helping me out with some workouts. We started talking, and it went too far.
What
my
does that
husband
mean?
knows. Well, he started talking to me. We met for coffee, and then
Did you sleep with him?
We actually ended up sleeping together, yes, which is the part that my husband doesn't know. He knows everything except for that, because immediately I just feared risking, like, I was scared of losing everyone, and I was so stupid, and I was like just scared. So I immediately lied and blocked him from everything. I have not communicated with him since then. It's been over 2 months, but now I'm like, well, great. When it was all horrible, I lied.
Yeah.
And now I don't know if I should rehash this, because things have been going really well, and like we've really surrounded ourselves with a great community and church family and counseling, and I've lied so hard about this one thing among every single person, because in my head I was like, I'll just never ever bring this up. And now I'm like, to move forward, I need to know whether or not I should tell him.
All right, so there it is. She wants to know if she should tell him. All right, let's break down some things that were said there. Okay, so first of all, let's look at the timeline. She's married 5 years, 2 children, right? Okay, children are ages 2 and 4. I don't know if she said that, but we'll say it later on. I did preview this thing once. This follows the script, guys. This follows the timeline for most marriages, and when infidelity happens, or when the thoughts about infidelity start happening, because what happens is, and I've talked about the pair bond and the neurochemical attachment, that starts to break down. On the best case scenario, you become her favorite pair of socks, the old smelly pair of socks that she never wants to wear out. That's kind of what you become, instead of like the hot, new outfit that she wants to take out in the town and have all the fun experiences with. That's you turn from the hot new thing to the old pair of socks neurochemically. All right. So and we looked at beta. You can look at beta endorphins versus the attraction, the dopamine that kicks in for trying to get you, and like all the things that happen. And we're going to talk about why maintaining desire then is so important in typical marriages, where in a typical marriage, what happens is she's not marrying her best choice. When I say best choice, I mean, maybe transactionally best choice that she is available at the time. And maybe she does have emotions for him. I mean, I think she cares about this guy. That's her husband. I think this caller cares about him, and that's very common. And I'm going to give you a perspective. It's not one I'm proud of, but I mean, it's one that's useful, which is back in my days when I was younger and hotter, I guess, right? I had married women and women in relationships wanting to sleep with me. I was a traveling military guy. I had no stability, right? It wasn't a stable guy in a sense where you could have a relationship with me that would go anywhere, for a long time in my life. But what I did have was the attractive qualities. And so women would sleep with me while they're in relationships. And, sometimes they told me about them, sometimes they didn't. And it's not something I recommend. Okay. But this is just, I had rationalized it and I had been doing it. So what did I learn from that though? All right. Well, these girls cared about the guys that were at home. A lot of times they would demonize them. It's cucking, right? You can go look at my most popular video, unfortunately, about cuck psychology. And I got interested in cuck psychology, not because I'd been cucked all the time or because that's my thing. I don't want to be the cuck, but essentially I was the bull. All right. Essentially, I was the guy that they were cucking somebody else with. And I got to see from the other perspective all the things that women lie about and hide. All right. About their attraction triggers, about things that their decision making and the things that would make them look less like a good girl to society, the things that she hides from her husband, from potential children, from parents, from some of her friends. I got to see the dark side of that female psychology when she's the person who's texting "I love you" or calling in front of you a guy that she's got at home waiting for her, and going, "Oh, he's such a nice guy," and this and that and the other, and then going another round of sex with you. Like and it didn't matter. Here's the thing. It wasn't like only these 304s or really bad girls with sleeve tattoos and septum piercings that were the ones doing all this. It was everyone from every demographic. I had professional women. I had women who were attorneys and doctors. I had women with no education that were waitresses. I had women that were, I had every color, every race, every demographic I've been through in some way, shape, or form. Again, not a brag, just an experience, and been through normally without them having boyfriends, but also seen what it was like when they had somebody at home. And I saw what that behavior was, and I'm sharing that with you because you see the other side of it. This is stuff that will shock you if you've never been on the other side. And what shocked me the most was the idea that they cared about these guys sometimes. They just weren't, and they didn't desire them. The guy wasn't the person that she wanted to get off on. He was just a guy that she cared about in some way, shape, or form. She saw that she could get her needs met with him transactionally, and she cared about his well-being. A lot of that caring about his well-being had more to do with her, but then you realize that female solipsism is pretty universal. You know what I mean? So she cared, but she didn't care. Like she wasn't desiring him. She wasn't like, "Oh, I can't wait to get home and get railed by my husband." Like that was never it was like, like, it was like, I only have sex with them when I have to keep things together for the kids kinds of stories. And so many men are on the other side of that. Some of you guys watching this right now have been there, or you're there right now. And so this is why this is educational for you, even though it's going to be hard to hear. Okay. This is educational for you. Understand when she's doing the cheating, she's not crying like it's an assault victim. She's not going, "Oh, I hate it. It's so bad and gross. Oh no, this is such a bad experience." No, trust me, she's not doing that. Okay. She's having more fun in that bedroom a lot of times than she does at home. And reason is because the guy she married wasn't the guy she desired the most. It was, and that happens probably like 70% of the time, 80%. Who knows what the stats are, but it seems to happen more often than not happening, because when you talk to a lot of women as well as men, and you do what I do, both professionally and outside of the office, you talk to enough people, you have conversations with women, and you realize that they care about maybe a guy that they're with, but they're not in desire with that guy. And that happens all the time. They don't desire him sexually in the way that she should, in the way that the guy hopes she does, to be giving his commitment away. And she lies to that guy. And lying is part of the deal with when a woman is going for a guy that she does not see as her best sexual option. She lies to that guy. That comes with the territory. Most people lie and most women lie about this in particular. And so you need to know that. The reason you need to know that is not to freak out and throw your marriage away if you're in one, or, try to resolve to live like some kind of a incel lifestyle or something, right? That's not why I'm telling you this. I'm telling you this so you understand what female nature is about. So you learn how to use this big brain of yours, that higher order thinking, to set up your relationship and choose the right person so that you can have relationship success and overcome some of these tendencies. You have to lead. You have to overcome these tendencies with women you're with. They're not going to do it for you. That's where frame comes in. That's why when guys join my mastermind group, what they're getting more than anything else, whether they're an elite member or mastermind members, is they're getting an understanding of frame. I've done videos on this channel. They're older, but they still apply. They still check out. I have videos on the 4 pillars of frame and the concept of frame, so you can have frame in your relationship. Frame is how you avoid getting into this situation. You avoid being the guy in the situation. And for the girl, you avoid having her, with her lack of awareness and bad decision making, putting herself in a situation where she's banging a trainer. You know what I mean? And so you're saving everybody with frame, but you got to know how to do it. All right. Starts with that free link getting in the community, but you may want to consider joining the mastermind group, because that's where we're doing weekly coaching calls and you have material to follow so that you can run frame in your life. Without this, left to her own devices, she's going to run out of desire for you. She'll probably hook up with you and marry you, even though you're not the best choice. But the hope that you are the best choice is going to put her into an elevated state of desire that's not going to be congruent with how the rest of the relationship will go. So let me say that again. When a girl gets with a guy who's not the best she's ever done sexually, not the best choice or the most attractive to her, okay, she has the hope oftentimes that he is going to be that guy, because in other ways, he may check other blocks. He may be the most loving, the most caring, the most financially successful. He may check these other blocks. And so she goes, man, I really like this guy and I hope he can someday be my sexual best. So I'm going to do this trade-off in my head and go forward in the relationship. And so she's based on hope that desire raises for him, because she's hoping he'll step up and be the man sexually and emotionally and from a dominance perspective. She's hoping that he's going to step up and be that guy for her throughout the process of this relationship and after getting married. What happens is this guy has no idea that she has this covert contract. He thinks he's the best. Otherwise, why would she marry me? In this guy's head, he's like, well, she's a pretty girl. She could get other dudes. She chose me. I'm not that cool. So she must think I'm the man. That's how the guy brain perceives it. And she is going to lie. She's not going to sit there and go, you're not the most attractive guy I've ever been with. Actually, I don't really orgasm that often when we have sex. Actually, she's not going to have that conversation. Okay. So what's going to happen is this guy that everyone's lying to each other, but they're saying I do. They're saying I do, and financially committing, right, with that marriage, all that stuff. But everybody's lying. she's not telling him the truth and saying that, yeah, dude, like there's some areas that need to improve. Or if I have a crystal ball, I'm probably going to fall out of love with you. You know what I mean? She's not having that conversation. He's not having certain conversations with her either. He's lying to himself usually more than anything else. Girls will lie to guys. You know what I mean? I would say, although I don't have data to prove it, from my experience, it seems like women can be more deceptive to guys in a general level, although guys can definitely be deceptive to women. So don't think anybody's safe here. Okay. But guys are more deceptive to themselves more than anything else. This guy that this woman married probably thought he was the best choice. And she knew damn well he wasn't. She just hoped he would be. And so back to desire, she hopes based on that hope, she's having eager sex with him, wanting him to be the guy. And then, doing little shit tests and trying to have conversations and trying to communicate to try to elevate things. But she doesn't want to train him how to be a man either. So there's a lot she's not saying. And then she just focuses on the next milestone. Well, I guess we have a honeymoon coming up. That'll be fun. Oh, I got my job. You have your job, and we're a newlywed couple. We'll go out and do couples things with other couples, and first anniversary, and then let's have a baby. 5-year marriage, 4 kids, 4 years old. So, all right, the next milestone is get that house together. Next milestone is have that baby together, and then all the baby stuff takes up a couple years, right? And then shoot, let's have another baby, right? So she's trying to fill this void, hoping this guy is going to be the best for her someday while she distracts herself with milestones. And then after the second kid, maybe she doesn't really want a third or whatever, she's going to now hit the gym, right? She's going to start. What happens is she gets a reigniting of trying to get herself back as a woman. She's been distracting herself with all of the stuff that she wanted to meet at this guy's expense, really, right? And then we could say at his expense because she's not in full desire for him. So she's wanting to meet all these milestones with this guy as the catalyst or the facilitator for the milestones, hoping that this guy is going to be the man. But then he never ends up being the man to her. He could be the man, right, to somebody else. Like it's a subjective look, not an objective one. But he probably doesn't have frame. He's definitely not in my mastermind course. So he doesn't have frame. He probably doesn't know these things. And he doesn't know how to continue to reignite that desire throughout the relationship and also have an impact with intense levels of desire in the beginning and throughout the relationship. When you know how to do that and create intense levels of desire, both inside the bedroom and outside the bedroom, that gives you a foundation for frame. And then 5 years later, she's not looking at you like you're not the best choice and wondering what to do with her life, right? And so let's follow the track. She is going to get herself back together as a woman, right? She's not doing it for the husband. She wants to get railed. She wants attention. She wants sex. And she's not getting it. She's lost hope now. Year 5. She's lost hope that this guy is going to be the man for her. He wasn't the man, wasn't the best choice to begin with. He hasn't stepped up to be the best choice, stepped up, right, in her mind over the course of 4 or 5 years now. And so she's probably like a 6 or 7 year relationship overall. So she's lost 7 years is about the timeline where they lose the hope. The whole time, neurochemically, it's a few years now of seeing him as an old pair of socks rather than the hot outfit to go take out on town. And so neurochemically, she's not seeing him as somebody that she desires. So what happens? She puts herself, without realizing it, I don't think she went to the gym to cheat. She puts herself in the scenario of being into contact with other attractive guys that are going to fluff her up, give her attention. That reignites those areas of her brain that wants to get laid. Women and men are designed to mate switch in different ways. So it just reignites the natural parts of her brain. She doesn't have the boundaries in play to cheat proof anything because this guy doesn't have frame and he hasn't instituted any of these boundaries. So what ends up happening? She ends up running off and getting slammed by this dude. This is the script, man. This is what happens. And this is what is going to happen to at least 20 to 25% of you listening to this thing right now. This is what's going to happen to you unless you do something about it. I don't know if you want to have a 20 to 25% chance of this happening to you. I sure don't. Tune in next week for part 2. And don't forget to join the school community for free.